No, I'm good. I was just saying, I think both runners are finally getting set up now. Quick introduction, I'm Rhino Feeder. I'm with my wonderful partner, Wasabi Knight, for this commentary here. I'm excited for this match, Wasabi. I genuinely am, because I think this is going to be one of the closest matches in the first round.
Yeah, indeed. I think this race is really just going to come down to probably one death or one big mistake, a Wurmp that shows up in the wrong place, something like that. So it's always exciting when you can have a race that can be has the potential to be this close.
Yeah, absolutely. I know most people who have been watching any of the first round, they know that a lot of the matches in the first round of the Swift bracket, a lot of the matches have the tendency to be very, very one-sided, for lack of a better term. But looking at the PBs of both these runners here, Jeff with a 57-17 and Solar with a 56-25. That's less than a minute apart. So in a tournament setting where there's no resets or anything, I mean, anything could happen here. So I'm genuinely excited to have this match.
Yep, same here.
All right. Do we want to check in with our runners and give them a countdown, or?
Yep, that sounds like the right time to do that.
Let me take a look here. Do you want to do it, or do you want me to get them?
I don't. I can get the countdown, but I don't know their discords. I'm trying to ping them.
Jeff's is just Jeff is Epic, and Soul's is just Soul, or yeah, just Soul in the Hollow Knight Discord.
View Souls. Do I have the right one? Just Soul? Yep, there we go. All right.
Yep. All right, both runners ready.
Yep, we're just gonna get them both on the same screen real quick. You're there?
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff is saying that they're on the start screen. Okay, now they're there.
There might be a significant delay for Jeff's stream.
I'm a little worried about that.
We're just gonna run a quick test to see just how far off both the runners are.
Right. Okay, Soul just did it.
But it's not showing on screen, so there might be a pretty significant delay for both of them, which should be fine.
I see them both on the screen on our end here, so I think we should be good to go. Do you want to give them a countdown, and we'll just see what happens?
Yep, that sounds good to me. All right.
All right, good luck to both runners as we count down here.
All right.
And we're off. Or should be.
Yeah, no, it looks to be about a 20-second delay. So chat will be seeing it a lot later than we will.
Maybe. we'll have to see. And okay, they're both finally starting.
There we go.
There we go. So from your perspective, Wasabi, what do you think are like the important, crucial sections of this race for these two runners? Like, what do you think are going to be the deciding factors?
I think that a lot of people focus a lot on Crystal Peaks, maybe, you know, good cycles and D-Dark and not dying there, and Isma's tier, Hornet 2, but I think a lot of people will tend to overlook Soul Sanctum just because it's so early. A lot of people don't mind resetting there because it's about 15 minutes, 20 minutes into the run, depending on where that is. But so I think a lot of focus could be put on who gets ahead by there.
Yeah, I was definitely going to say Sanctum myself. You know, it's a split where, regardless of your level of a runner, there's a lot that can go wrong in Sanctum with Soul Twister RNG and just other things generally not going one's way. So I think that's kind of going to be the first check-in point for me to see who's ahead. You know, maybe coming out of Shade Soul or going into Soul Master.
Yep, and both of them got a pretty good King's Pass here, both exiting on 53 seconds. So already pretty tight.
The first important part of the run, we'll see if anyone bothers to say hi to Elderbug. Looks like a no here. Not surprised to see, but anything can happen in these spec formats.
Yes, indeed. So somebody was asking in the chat who's the favorite. Technically, it is Soul, for Jeff did not have a recorded personal best, but his unrecorded personal best is very, very close to Soul's. He says that he feels like he's very close to getting a new personal best, 3 minutes off of his sum of best. So there's definitely a potential for Jeff to beat Soul here.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I would personally get really, really hyped to see either of these runners get a PB in a tournament setting, because that's extremely difficult to do with all this pressure, knowing that there's a bunch of people watching you, knowing that you can't reset. A lot of runners tend to play safer strats. Both runners missing the double spike here, actually, so it's kind of funny how synced up they still are right now, like walking out at like the same second. Oh my gosh. But both runners seem to have a pretty good grasp of what's going on in Vengeful Spirit. I mean, as runners, we've all reset this split 7 billion times, so we've gotten some inherent practice moving through this area.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where the I'm excited to see who makes the first quote mistake, whether it comes with green path or whether someone gets hit somewhere they're not supposed to, because right now that they look like it's fascinating to me how almost in sync these runners are. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you know, if this race remains close enough, we might even see we might even get to the point where like Balder RNG like really matters, which is something that we really haven't seen in the other races so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And with how much RNG there is in this split between the Vengeflies and King's Path and getting hit in Grozzer Drop, which they both got hit once. And now we're going to see if any of them get good or bad Veil Champ RNG. Both getting the same jump back. They both got pretty much the same RNG from Veil Champ there. Excuse me, Pause Knight, not Veil Champ yet.
Yeah.
That would be rough.
When we go for the true ending races, we'll.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so Jeff having a 316 exit to Soul's 319. This is. I will say so. I'm glad that we picked this match to come, because it's gonna be hype.
And it was mostly just chance, because I was just looking at your schedule, and you said you were like, yeah, after 5 p.m. on a weekday should be good. I'm like, are there any matches after 5 p.m.? Oh, yeah. Jeff and Soul.
Yeah, right. I definitely haven't been keeping the races on all week at work on a second monitor. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. It's just great to see the community that's active.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just checked about a couple days ago. I don't know how many people saw me post that Hollow Knight made top 15 for most active speed games, and I think a large amount of credit goes to this tournament, if not all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible for a small indie game like Hollow Knight to be top 15. Like, that's wow.
Yeah,
wonderful. right, so now here comes the first like big RNG part of the run, which is how many Balder spits are we going to get?
Yeah.
This is where in my chat I would start asking people to predict over under like 2.5 or something, but we'll see if any of them get lucky with a 1 spit.
You know what? I feel like the Hollow Knight RNG gods would they want to see this race close. I have a feeling Soul's gonna get the first or second spit here. No. Nope.
Jeff got a 1 spit. Soul got about a 4 spit. I think I counted. I took my eye off for a second, but
it's all right. We might be able to normalize the. Soul might be able to normalize this pretty quick here, but as of right now, Jeff is in the lead.
Yeah, and it's a very close race still. So Jeff walking out of there for Soul's stream seems to be having.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Soul's stream is having some difficulties. Hopefully we can get that back. But in the meantime, Jeff doing a good job climbing here. That Gruzzer in a very annoying spot, but 5:10 entrance into the Balder room is a really good pace. I'm mildly concerned about what happened to Soul's stream. I'm mildly concerned about it.
I checked just to see if it was just SpeedGaming's broadcast that was interfering, but no, it appears that he is not live on Twitch right now. Or at least no visuals coming through.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we can do anything about that now, but in the meantime, go Jeff. So I don't know if anybody else noticed, but Jeff actually had enough soul to use 2 fireballs for the first VS skip, which is not super common, but it's something. Oh, what's up? Sorry.
So apparently we have a full power outage for Solar Beam. The breaker tripped. The power is back on, but I'm sure almost any internet router takes about 20 to 30 seconds, maybe a full minute to come back online, and we have to bring the Twitch back up. So actually, should we ping the volunteers? Because they mentioned that we should ping them for any trouble.
Yeah, at this point, I think we probably need to talk to a tournament organizer and figure out what they want to do here, because
yeah, that's true. The tournament organizers might have more say on that.
Yeah.
We'll get this sorted real quick, chat. We'll be right back.
Well, in the meantime, I'm still going to give Jeff some love because they're moving through Green Path really, really well, and I don't want that to go overlooked. Going into the Moss Warrior here with less than full soul is a little risky. You're kind of relying on getting the double here. We'll see if Jeff gets it. And nice hit. There we go. So yeah, if you don't have 3 fireballs for that Moss Warrior, things can get pretty dicey if you don't get the double right away. Now, Jeff's going to want 8 hits of soul before leaving this room, because you get a free hit on the Moss Warrior dropping into the next area, which should give you all 3 of your fireballs, but you definitely want to have 3. Yep, that's perfect.
Yep, that single hit on that Moss Knight is important. I've missed it a couple times, and that can lead to a very quick and sudden death if you're on low HP, which Jeff doesn't really have to worry about.
Yeah, I will say, I know it's not... I know it wastes a little bit of time, but I really like seeing Jeff pause and take a look down to see where both Moss Knights were in that section, especially in a tournament setting where, like you were just saying, you can get hit quite a few times there if you get bad RNG on their spawns. So I definitely like the safe approach there. Now this Hornet fight is definitely the exact same as any percent. I don't know what I was about to say.
All right. It looks like we will probably be restarting this race. I'm pretty sure in real time Jeff is already done with this Hornet fight because he's already responded and said that he's okay with the reset. So
Jeff picking up the cloak around 5:18, or excuse me, 8:18. Not 5:18 would be quite the pace.
yeah, that would be
That would be quite a pace.
sounds like that would be I've gotten those times when I'm using glitches, but
right.
definitely not no major glitches.
All right, so yeah, okay. It looks like Jeff got the message. All right, so unfortunately, everyone, we are going to have to restart the entire race. Really unfortunate for Soul. So I know exactly how Soul feels because I think about 3 nights ago now, I was doing runs on my stream and I had a really good pace, and chat was just starting to get hype about it, and right as I was about to pick up Lantern in an any % run, the nearby winter storm took my power out for about 2 seconds, but that's all it really takes to kill the stream. So I totally feel for you right now, Soul. I totally feel for you. Happens to the best of us.
All right, so we're gonna have to try and sync everyone up once again, make sure they're on the Steel Soul starting screen, get another countdown. It'll just be a couple of seconds here, chat. I'm almost certain that we're still synced up, so it shouldn't take as long to set up as the last time.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hit them with the countdown this time?
Yeah, sure. I'll hit them with the countdown. Looks like I almost tagged you. You're not racing.
Yeah.
Okay, Soul's ready. Waiting on Jeff. Rumor has it Jeff is epic, so.
Oh. Yeah, I can spell, definitely.
All right, both runners are ready. I'm going to give them the countdown now. We'll go. Okay, here goes. And 5. Wait. Actually, I want to see Jeff on the. Actually, Jeff, can you go to.
I think I just told him that he should be on it, and I think he's probably on it, but we're just waiting for the stream to sync
there
up.
It is. All right.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. And we'll see how much delay there is between when I just said go and when they select the start. Well, we're very, as Claunchy in chat points out, we're very fortunate that it happened early on in the run instead of somewhere like Abyss or something where the run's almost over.
Absolutely. And I think that, again, we have a very fortunate matchup for that, too.
Yeah.
Between Jeff and Soul, because I'm eager to see if they're able to pull off the same level of consistency once again. And this time we might be able to talk a little bit more about what's going on in King's Pass. The first time around, we were setting expectations for the race. Looks like we have a little bit of desync here, with Soul starting just slightly earlier, but that shouldn't be a huge problem.
Yeah, I think looks like about 5 seconds, which not a big deal.
And we'll still be able to compare their times on every load, essentially when the timer will pause, and those times should be relatively similar.
Did Soul just freeze again? Oh, okay. Gotcha. It was just syncing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was syncing. I thought Soul froze again, and I was gonna cry.
Oh yeah, that would have been.
Right.
It is my worst nightmare to have stuff not working on race day, because that was actually the exact moment I got locked out of my Discord account. Was when I was supposed to be looking at the countdown. They said, "Where are we counting down? Races discussion." I opened up Discord and I'm blocked out of every single facet of it. And I did not get that back. So it's fortunate that Soul managed to get his power back.
So we got 52s out of both runners, which are pretty nice pace out of King's Pass. As someone in chat points out, hopefully Baldur RNG is a little bit more even this time. I know I know Jeff might be the one person disagreeing with that statement.
I'm sure that Jeff is a man of honor. He wants the 2-spit Baldur for both of them. He wants this race to be close.
We'll see if anyone gets hit here in the Gruzzer drop, and clean drops for both this time around. You love to see it. It's one of them. Getting hit in that drop is pretty much pure RNG based on where the Gruzzers are, and it's an incredibly frustrating thing to deal with early on in the run. And so both entering here at 33. We'll see if anyone gets the double spike kill this time. Oh. And, okay. Jeff didn't get any enemies with the spike, but a really good backup, getting him a quick a 4-second lead over Soul, I think.
Soul got a clean Gome room. Both runners did, I believe.
Yeah, both runners clean Gome room. Both runners missed double spike. I don't know if I don't know if either runner hit the spike at all. Actually, might be some race nerves going on here.
I'm curious if either runner goes for spike pogo. Jeff got a backup on the vent fly because I believe he got caught on some terrain a little bit.
Soul doing the same.
Yeah. That's something or did I say spike pogo, statue pogo?
Yeah, I knew you meant statue pogo, yeah.
But that's always a part of the run that makes me curious, because I'm personally someone who does not go for statue pogo. I haven't learned it. I think that I'd rather spend my time elsewhere, but I'm just curious to see how many runners have taken the time to try to make that trick consistent, because it's important if you go for that trick to have it consistent up to,
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot more watching higher level runners. It looks very simple and straightforward, but it's actually a fairly precise skip to get. Also pointing out quick, Jeff got really good RNG out of False Knight. Soul not so lucky, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're gonna see. I think Soul might have had more Geo available to collect, but it looks like he lost some in the Aspid arena compared to Jeff. So it turns out that he's actually still behind on the Geo.
Right.
Not by too much. I don't think it'll be a huge difference maker. I was just wondering if he might have something that makes up a little bit for that time loss.
Yeah, Geo in all skills isn't too tight. The first place where Geo might get a little bit tight is when you after picking up dive, when you head to King Station. Up until there, it's pretty relaxed. It's definitely not as tight as early game any percent. But obviously the more Geo helps, because coming out of Sanctum, you definitely don't want to have to be scrambling for Geo to get King Station. And this is still fairly close. I mean, we're not as absolutely synced as last time, but still fairly close.
Again, this race is probably going to come down to just one or two big mistakes, or maybe like, as opposed to a mistake, just getting really good RNG on the Soul Master fight, which still requires good execution. Yeah. There is a quick kill that I'll be looking for. To see if either runners even go for, because there is some risk of just bumping into the Soul Master and losing some HP.
Jeff getting another one spit. that's always a good feeling as a runner, because whenever I reset on a one spit, I'm just like, oh, there's no way I get a one spit again. Oh, and Soul also gets a one spit.
There we go. So someone in chat getting their wish of better, closer, follower RNG.
Absolutely. So I'll take a look at the times here. Jeff leaving this room 4:55. And Soul probably around like 5:05 if I had to guess here. Yeah, so about a 10-second lead for Jeff, which still, I mean, we're early on. This run is about an hour, and that's not at all like a death sentence for Soul. I don't want to say it's negligible, but it's definitely, anything could still happen.
Jeff missing a little bit of Soul at the end, having to go for the very slowest tick at the end. Soul just being able to breeze right through here, getting extra Soul at the end. A little play on words with his name there, very unintentional, but
Jeff hitting the fireball skip well. We'll see if Soul opting not to get an extra hit on that ball. I always go for an extra little pogo on that boulder, but that probably wastes time. Both runners hitting the VS skip very cleanly. So the room that they're both in right now, you want to make sure that you have at least 5 hits of soul in this room. Without going into intense depth and detail about why, just 5 is like the bare minimum you want to have. Oh, and Soul taking a really unfortunate acid dunk there. Oof. But both runners doing completely well. Jeff coming up to the second BS skip here.
The room that Soul was just finishing going through there was it can get a little bit, especially when nerves are racing high. It can get a little bit scary to try and focus on trying to avoid damage from the enemies, avoid falling into the crevices, while collecting all the soul that you need for these next skips. So
soul missing, that's a costly skip to miss. But going for the squip back up. And Jeff hits all 3 fireball skips really cleanly. So I really think this is going to be a close enough race where it comes down to those little mistakes. But yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot more to go in the run. There's a lot of even more difficult skips where anything could happen. So yeah, a little bit of breathing room for Jeff, but definitely.
Jeff actually missing quite a bit of soul going into the Moss Knight fight. I actually missed where he... Okay. Wow, he just had a...
That's the double, nice.
Yeah. I've never... I don't know if he just collects less soul there. Did you see in the first race if he did the same thing?
Yeah, in the first race he also went in a little bit low. It can be scary, right? The double setup is fairly consistent, but again, we're in a tournament setting. There's nerves. Anything could happen. So really, really courageous there of Jeff to just trust himself to get the double and trust his practice.
Yeah.
I think Soul got it as well. I didn't look, but actually no, Soul doesn't have any. It's hard to say Soul and then talk about Soul in the game, but
yeah,
Soul came into this room without any hits of Soul, so. Jeff making quick work with the Moss Knights. Soul coming in too.
Soul actually did not go for the Moss Knight double hit. And that was something that personally, when I was first learning the route, I didn't think was going to be worth it. But as soon as I learned the setup was fairly consistent, I realized, you know, I would prefer to just go for it. And if I miss it, there's no real cost. But
so, and the one for anybody watching too, the one benefit of going for the double, even if you don't get it, if the Moss Knight jumps backwards, what that does is it makes all of his geo also drop more to the right, so you don't have to slow down to get it, really. Like, you're more likely to collect all of it. So even if you don't get the double fireball hit, just making the Moss Knight jump backwards is worth it in a sense. Jeff with a real clean fight there. Let's see, Soul.
18-20 pickup on the Mothman cloak there.
Soul almost got hit there. That made me nervous. That was an 8-20 from Jeff, you said?
Yes. From the Mothman cloak pickup, it looks like an 8-30 quit out, which is probably a more precise reading here. Most of this time that Soul's losing here, probably from missing that second fireball skip.
Yeah, that's definitely a costly one. Having to go get the squid, lure it up, pogo it. Not a fun thing to have to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, he didn't mess up the Eric skip, as some people call it in the community.
I'm not familiar with this. Oh,
they call the squid Eric, and bouncing on his head, Eric skip.
All right, makes sense. That's all we need. All right, so the Mantis Claw split coming up now. A fairly movement-heavy split this early on in the run. Personally, one of my favorite splits because there isn't really much RNG that can mess with you. It's pretty much all down to your own execution. But there's a lot of, the drop that Jeff is doing right now, which very well executed. It takes a lot of, there's a lot of precise movement in there. E-Pogo is in this split and the Mantis Pogo. Two fairly difficult skips back to back. So again, a lot could go wrong here that might give Soul an edge in catching up.
For sure. E-Pogo specifically is a trick that really interests me. Mantis Pogo is pretty much solved in this category at least. Everybody does the same inputs basically, but when it comes to the Explosion Pogo, there's actually a few different variants, some of them damage tank. I would expect most people to go for something known as Wii Pogo. Which is a very basic version. It's been very consistent for me and for most runners that I've seen.
I love the term Murray Pogo. After speedrunner Murray, for those who don't know, he does an e-pogo that's incredibly fancy and saves a little bit of time. But Jeff doing the standard setup here and gets the first try, very nice. You ever seen low percent e-pogo, Sabi?
I have not. I have not seen low percent e-pogo, but doing it without dash doesn't sound very fun to me.
I'll have to show you sometime. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen itemless mantis pogo? That's my question to you.
Not.
Itemless mantis pogo is Jeff missing the mantis pogo. That first mantis is going to be only on 1 HP, but he manages to get it anyway.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the biggest time loss there would be is if he were to kill that mantis and not get up there. It becomes very difficult to get up with one mantis, but he manages to get it. Clutch it out.
There's an opportunity for Soul to pick up a little bit of time here. If Soul can pull off the double dash real cleanly, can make up a couple seconds, and it looks like oh no, very close. And Soul just gonna go right around. I can definitely understand the rationale there, kind of just cutting your losses and taking a safe way, but oh no, you really hate to see that.
Definitely a little rough. Small mistakes like that can come anywhere from nerves to just trying to go fast and catch up a little bit of time. I think that Soul had the opportunity to go for a second pogo on that mantis, and he opted not to go for it. He believed he was at the right height, just went straight for the dash, and did not pay off.
Yeah, I tell you, there's a lot of times where even if I know that I have more than enough height, I just take the extra half second, do a second pogo just for safety, because it's not worth losing the run. But
absolutely,
you know, opportunity for Jeff here to keep really pushing his lead. Again, though, anything could still happen. Like we talked about before the race started, with runners this close, at least by their PBs, those are the tiny little mistakes that are really going to make a difference here.
There's a lot of factors that just no runner can really account for, or just doesn't account for most of the time. I learned just yesterday that there is a RNG chance of a worm being on the second ISMA skip, I believe, or the first acid skip, I should say, just being in the way, and you can just take 2 damage there.
Oh, really?
For absolutely no reason.
Yeah. That's why every single time I do that skip, I don't care. I absolutely refuse to even go into that room without a fireball.
Without a fireball.
Yeah. I don't care what kind of pace I'm on. I don't care. I will not do it without a fireball. It's shooting a fireball there costs like a half second, and it prevents you from losing a lot of time. So every time I see a runner not fireball there, I get a little nervous, because like you just said, you know what can happen.
Yeah, and if you go in there on 2 HP, say you missed the spike pogo 3 times, that could be a death.
That's
straight up. So.
Yeah. All right, and Jeff setting up the shade skip here. So for anyone watching who isn't a Hollow Knight player or runner, that's an intentional death that we take to set up what is called shade skip, which is you get your shade there. And great cleanup from Soul, by the way. But you're going to see Jeff now pogo his own shade to get up into Blue Lake. Very well executed. And Soul really close behind still.
There's a fun in-joke in the community when people are showing off, maybe in a marathon or just a friend who has not seen the run before, they like to pretend that death was alarming and just it came out of nowhere. That husk just couldn't get out of the stun lock, and that is what Soul's going for here right now as well.
I am definitely guilty of doing that.
Yeah, I got one of my best friends when they were watching me for the first time, but Soul going for a sideswipe on the shade. I didn't see what Jeff went for. Whoa.
Ooh.
Okay.
Soul, okay. Let's get dicey here.
Yeah, Soul goes for a very different setup from ones I've seen from pretty much every other runner. Most runners tend to sit in place. Something Soul might be trying to account for is the fact that the shade is less likely to perform a fireball if you are at a different height than it. If you're at the same vertical level, it is more likely to fireball. In fact, that's the only time it can.
Right.
So he might just be trying to minimize that time, which if you do it successfully, just reduces a little bit of the RNG there, makes the trick easier, more consistent. But I believe missing one of his jumps for that setup.
Yeah. So we have Soul entering city now. Jeff going over to get Gorgeous Husk. So I don't know how long you've been running All Skills, Sabi. I only picked it up for the tournament about 2 months ago. How new is the current Geo route? Because my understanding is it's fairly new.
I have absolutely no concept of time when it comes to skill. My first run of All Skills was submitted, I believe, on the 3rd of this month. So I am very new to this category, and I'm very new to no major glitches in general. I started out as a glitch runner, so a lot of the geo routing, the soul routing, it was a concept almost entirely lost on me for a long time.
Nice. So. Yeah, so for those curious, the kill on the Gorgeous Husk there, and you might be wondering, well, why do we bother going there to kill it and then just quit out? The 420 geo that it drops is incredibly important, because right now we're heading to get Dash Slash, which is a nail art that costs 800. And Soul opting not to kill those 2 enemies there, which most runners do for the geo. But I'm curious to see where they get their geo back.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely missing about 20 to 40 of the geo you would probably want here.
Right.
And trying to farm an extra hopper or a couple of aspids or something can get very, very risky HP wise.
Yeah, it can get risky HP wise. Obviously, it's a time loss. Yep, we see Jeff here clearing out the hoppers real cleanly. Just forward slashing that one.
Yeah. Possibly just forgetting his usual setup due to nerves, but maybe quite comfortable with what he's doing here.
Yeah,
looks like he didn't lose too much time there with that strat.
No, not at all, and he's got a good geo count. Even one thing I always tell a lot of runners is even if you have 800, always kill that last hopper just in case, because the next thing we need to spend money on is King Station, and not too long from now, and it's very easy to be short on geo there. So while we're here killing the hoppers anyway, we may as well get some geo.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
So something a lot of people who are used to watching, especially any percent runs, get very curious about all this geo farming. You know, why not just pick up a relic? And the big reason for that is that in this category we don't visit Lem, because we do not need any. We don't need to buy the lantern, which is the most expensive purchase in any percent. That is what leads to what you will see, a few completely dark rooms that have the added bonus of resetting you to the beginning of the room every time you touch a hazard. So
yeah, that's such a pain getting hit. Like, I didn't realize that actually until I ran categories with dark rooms, that getting hit once, no matter where, takes you back to the start of the room. I had actually never thought about that either, that we just need so much less geo because we don't need lantern, as you were saying. And so if anybody who's familiar with any percent and whatnot, you may have noticed that they didn't save Sly either, which again, we don't need to purchase lantern because we can get into Crystal Peaks with dive, which they're getting now. And we need dive regardless because, well, that's what all skills is. So
may as well come back to that. Oh, that topic on the geo. Soul managing to make it up quite cleanly. I didn't quite see where he got it, but he ended with just 10 less geo than Jeff, which I found a little surprising. But he must have got every hopper, maybe an aspid.
I think I saw Soul kill an extra hopper. Yeah, Soul made up the 800, so all good. Still a little bit behind Jeff, but nothing crazy.
Jeff just barely missing the wall storage, I think, on the, but not a huge time loss. It's almost more of a visual trick to me than it is a time save. It's a very, very small time save, but it's one that costs no time going for, provided you don't dash in the opposite direction that you mean to.
Yeah, definitely. And both runners now entering what I think is the first place in the run where we could potentially see a death. And that's not a shot at either runner. I see top runners. I see some of the best runners in this category take deaths here just because there's so much uncertainty with RNG. The Soul Twisters can be real jerks with where they spawn. It's completely possible that the Soul Twisters can spawn directly in front of where you're dashing.
And there's
never fun.
I think there should be a huge emphasis on soul management in this area.
Absolutely.
Because going into, there's 2 fights that you want to come in with almost 2 full fireballs worth of soul, if not more. And Jeff actually expended 2 fireballs to kill the very first Soul Twister, which leaves him 3 hits of soul short of what you'd probably want to be at this point. So he's going to have a slower Soul Warrior fight as a cost of killing that Soul Twister a little faster. But that could be all right because he's coming in on decent HP. Maybe that's what he prefers, doesn't want to risk taking damage on the Soul Twister initially.
Right. And for anyone curious, you know, a lot of casual players that may have never played on this patch in particular or watched a ton of speedrunning, one of the reasons we care to get dash slash so early in this category is because, as you've seen a few times, and we haven't explained very much, but using dash slash on this patch allows our runners to hit levers through walls, which allows them to skip substantial parts of Soul Sanctum here and other sections later in the run.
Yeah.
Which is something you cannot do on current patch. You can't hit levers through walls.
Yeah, one of the biggest time saves here being that of the skip to get Shade Soul, because otherwise you would need an elegant key. You would need to travel all the way to Crystal Peaks, then back to Dirtmouth, then back to here to get Shade Soul. And what an expensive amount of time that would be. Soul getting a little bit stuck in that elevator. I don't actually send that elevator down. People send that elevator downward. I think that gets in the way if he sends it down. So.
Which elevator? Sorry, I was looking at Jeff healing for Soul Master.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
No, it was the first elevator leading to the Soul Warrior. I always see people send down the second one. Okay.
I send them both down. I don't know if that's correct, but I send them both down.
It very likely is. It's just something I haven't picked up on though.
Yeah, sure. So one of the keys to the Soul Master fight is getting double hits with the fireball, which is not incredibly difficult, knowing that Soul Master, if he's on one side of the room and he teleports, he'll pretty much always go to the other side. So as long as you can get on the outside of him to fire your your fireball, it's pretty likely you'll get doubles. But that's one of the biggest ways that our runners get a lot of DPS on this boss here. And we see Jeff in the second phase now. Curious to see what strat he goes with.
Yeah, and I don't believe Jeff had enough soul to go for the double fireball right at the beginning due to that heal. Soul getting
real good start.
Yeah, the perfect start to the Soul Master fight. 3 fireballs right at the start. I believe he just teleported right out of that Shade Soul. Oh my goodness. Yeah. This could have been, this had potential to be a really good fight, but it appears that Soul's going to have to work a little harder for that.
Yeah, it started out real well, but Soul Master can be a real jerk with the patterns he gives us. Jeff getting his dive. I like that Jeff took one heal there. So picking up the dive spell gives full soul back. So definitely a very good tournament save strat to heal there. Let's see what Soul goes for here. Both runners just getting single hits. Definitely a good safe play for this kind of setting. Alright, there's Soul with the kill. Yeah, so no deaths so far in Sanctum, which is really good to see, because this is definitely Sanctum is probably one of the most death-heavy parts of this category, honestly.
For sure. And that's what I meant to say when I was bringing up soul management earlier, is that a lot of players become reluctant to heal, knowing that their fight will be a lot slower with either the Soul Warrior or the Soul Master. But Jeff deciding that a little bit of time loss is worth it, perhaps knowing that he has a lead, and knowing he can afford to... grabbing a little bit of extra soul in that corridor.
Yeah, I like
Again,
that.
not something I've seen. But, yeah.
Yeah, so when our runners leave Sanctum and they go back the really long corridor they went through before where they hit the lever, the first room back at Spire that Jeff is about to go into in a couple seconds, You want to have enough soul coming into this room to shoot a fireball, because we really want the geo from all the enemies on that first level there. So I can understand the rationale for wanting to go into it with soul instead of risking having to get a hit.
Yeah.
You see him shoot that fireball right there.
Then he almost has the perfect amount of geo.
No, he's one short.
Yeah. You hate to see that, but fortunately there is a place where he needs to perform a dive that will guaranteed kill at least one husk. I thought it was guaranteed to kill two, but there was one time where I dived and it just didn't happen. It was guaranteed to at least kill one husk, so he probably won't lose any time getting a little bit of geo here.
Right. So where both the runners are heading to now, I love that I can say that because this race is close enough, but they're both heading into the part of the run that makes me the most nervous, because we take that bench at the top of Spire, and then there really isn't anywhere to heal all the way until D-Dark. So we're going to go over, get King Station, go back to Dirtmouth, go into Sea Peaks, get Crystal Heart, and then go through a dark room and get D-Dark, all without, I mean, you can heal and lose time, but there's nowhere to bench anywhere because we need to store that bench to save and quit back out after we get D-Dark. So I always get really nervous in this part of the run.
And probably the most terrifying thing about Crystal Peaks and having only 5 masks going in here is that there's a lot of potential to get double hit in a few sections. Missing underplat if people are going to go for that, a bit of a swag strat that does save a little bit of time. You can hit the top you can hit the bottom of the platform, take 1 damage, and immediately fall into spikes and take a second. And the same thing can happen in the dark rooms. Just a lot of unpleasant 2 mask damage situations. It only takes a few of those to knock you out.
Anyone who runs any percent knows that, you know, a lot of the movement strategies for any percent involve somewhat intentional damage tanks as the optimal route. In all skills, we don't always have that luxury because we need to save a little bit of health. You know, on top of everything I just listed, there's also the intentional damage tank we do to get early control after D-Dark, which you guys will see in a little bit, and it looks kind of funny. So there's just so many places that we take damage here. It's very risky.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, in a tournament setting, I'm losing time and healing. I'm just going to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased to see that we have in chat probably world's biggest underplat fan. So we're going to see how many people are looking to make him happy in this race.
You can see Jeff there finally diving into Sea Peaks. Again, for anyone who's never seen a category without Lantern, that's how we get into Peaks, is we go up top and we dive down and break the floor to get in, which is why we don't need Lantern. So first, is Jeff going for Pogax? Is he going for Eternal Glory? No.
No.
I'm very sad. As a big Pogax fan, but I understand it's a tournament setting. You get it.
Yeah.
But I'm still sad.
Pogax, I would say, even slightly riskier in all skills, just because taking an extra hit of damage means so much later on if you were to mess it up in the way that does get you hit, which would be rather rare, I believe.
Jeff got a real nice movement from Jeff there.
Yeah, a little bit of a save on...
You can say that again.
Ooh, actually coming out of the hole the wrong way.
Yeah, causing
but
a cycle.
Not losing too much time off of it, knowing the optimal way to get through that room without having the proper cycle.
And Soul also... Oh, Soul, you gonna do it? No, both runners breaking my heart. You know what happens. I understand. Yeah, it's crazy how close. I want to point out real quick. I mean, I know it looks like Jeff is ahead, but like any runner at this point is just one mistake or one awesome play away from taking or losing the lead. This is a really close race still.
Yep.
Especially with the dark room coming up.
Here we have Jeff opting not to go for a dash slash. He's going for the damageless cycle, which is very important for all skills. And any percent you can afford to take some damage because you just quit out right away. But going for the overplat. No Pogax and overplat. Jeff, I love you, but you've broken my heart. Yeah, and the heart of many a person in chat. I'm not even looking at chat, but I can feel Locust being upset right now.
Locust in shambles right now.
It's all right. I'm sure if Jeff is to pick up the win by a few seconds,
yeah,
he will not mind a little bit of fan anger.
We'll have to see if Soul goes. And Soul is going to go for the dash slash skip. Very nice.
Ooh, Soul going for the damage tank strat,
yep.
I believe.
Yep.
But he came in on 5 HP, so it's not a huge risk.
Right.
Provided he doesn't.
No!
No. 0 underplat race.
0 Pogac, 0 underplat. And Jeff not even getting the grub. That's dirty. Oh no. Fireborn is ecstatic right now, but the rest of us in shambles. So now Jeff in the dark room, going for C-dash strats. Definitely a good idea in tournament. Play it safe here. The optimal way through this room, actually, I know this sounds counterintuitive, but the optimal way involves no C-dashes and just constant dashing. But it's not free per se. It's definitely it involves a good sense of timing and rhythm. So I can understand why a runner would want something more consistent in this setting.
So something we're gonna see a lot. Ooh, Soul getting crushed with the first.
Hopefully not that.
But something that we're going to see a lot in this room is going to be, as soon as they get Seaheart, one of the things that goes into the routing is that after 3 dashes, a crystal dash becomes more valuable time-wise, so to speak. And that is why it's so slow in that room, is because every C dash makes up 1 or 2 dash lengths in that room, just because you keep hitting walls. So that's why it's so much slower there than just going through with normal dashing, despite Crystal Heart being a faster ability most of the time.
Right. Jeff getting the good. Oh, okay. Jeff falling into resting grounds here. So what you guys just saw Jeff do, and what you're going to see Soul do in a second, hopefully. Okay, I like the heal there. I really like the heal there. But if we hit the last hit on the D-Dart crystal, if we hit it with a dash slash, the game keeps our momentum going, and we actually go all the way forward into spikes, and it gives us early control. Oop. Okay, Soul having a little bit of trouble, but recovering well. But we're gonna see Soul in a second. Go get 7 hits on the crystal. Yep.
He actually took a heal that I thought might be unnecessary earlier coming into the into the D-Dark room, but it turns out he absolutely needed that heal because otherwise he would not be able to perform this trick, which does cost 1 HP. If you perform this trick with 1 HP, you're going to be a very sad.
Clip Monster do that?
Yes, I did. It was brilliant. He realized immediately, and there is nothing you can do to stop it.
There's nothing you can do. Yeah.
He asked chat really quickly because it appears that he had not been in that situation. You guys, is there anything I could do? Red had died. Fortunately for him, it was a run that was quite behind.
This is so close.
It really is.
Jeff picking up Dream now. Yeah, so for those who don't know, and all skills, because we have C-Dash when we come to the Dream now platforms here, we can just climb up on top of one of the roofs and C-Dash all the way. A lot more safe than the any percent way.
So after a brief, what Insomnia referred to as an RNG cutscene with the Watcher Knights, we are going to be going into one of the more important skips, which I'm just looking at the lead here is the main reason I'm talking about this. And that is that Jeff said to expect, or he may have been memeing a little bit, but he said to expect a little bit of trouble at Yzma's. He said he thinks he's confident in the whole race, and he can expect to be ahead or close until Yzma's maybe. So he seems a little bit nervous about this, maybe even as a joke playing it off, but
yeah, we'll see. I would say that Yzma's is probably the next big section that might give Soul an opportunity to make up time. I would say Watchers, but assuming both runners do traditionally known strats for all skills Watcher Knights, it's a fairly quick, fairly consistent fight. I'm not expecting too much variance in time here. Any percent runners who have never seen an all skills fight might be like angry just watching how simple this fight is in all skills, but there it is.
Yep. Just three quick D-Darks on the first set. if you get the dream nails properly, you can do pretty much the same exact thing with this set. He did not go for a second dream nail here, but it doesn't matter.
He got a real good pattern from them.
You really did, though. Apparently, one of the D-Darks missed that first night, but that's all right. Cleans it up fairly quickly.
Nice. That might shoot there. Good fight from Jeff.
Indeed. So one of the things that you want to see in any percent that you don't want to see in all skills is rolls, where one of the Watch Knights separates completely from the other, so your D-Dart can only hit one. In that case, most runners would go for a Shade Soul and just try and damage it anyway. But it's something you don't want to see. I don't believe Jeff got any really bad rolls there.
No, not at all. He got a couple bounces, which aren't great, but they're better than rolls in all skills.
Sure.
It'll be interesting. I haven't really checked the time difference too much recently, but it'll be interesting. I can't talk. My goodness, it'll be interesting to see where they both are at the Lurian cutscene.
Oh, Soul getting really unfortunate RNG there. I'm gonna say a little self-inflicted though, just because he did not go for full Soul by the.
Soul might die here. Oh goodness. Oh no. Oh god, my heart just.
Oh. There it is.
Oh man, Soul needed that too.
Yeah,
That was heartbreaking.
I think there's something that just because the Watcher Knight fight is so easy, a lot of all skills runners appear to be overlooking, and that is that there is a strategy to get full Soul with the second set of the Watcher Knights with just the Dream Nail, and
everybody hates the way I do it.
Oh really? What is that? I'm eager to hear it.
So I actually dream nail from the right side, and then I get, because my logic, and people will argue with me on this, but it works for me. My logic is that if one of them or both of them roll, they're still both together on the right side of the stage.
All right. That sounds
very
pretty
unorthodox,
but Soul going back in here. We'll see. We'll see him once again try this strategy. Opting for one Dream Nail this time. I believe he took damage going for the second Dream Nail on just the first night. So already having taken less damage here, getting a double hit on that Shade Soul.
Yeah, very nice. While that's going on, there's two. They're both at like hype sections right now, so I don't want to like take away. Jeff going to the Isma skips right now too, which are a big place that we were just talking about. He's pretty nervous about. Gets the first try on the. I think the spike tunnel is the hardest one, so.
Yeah, same here. And we'll see if he goes for the Rhino strategy of just Shade Souling right away, not allowing the Wurmp RNG.
Yep. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. And I'm curious to see if he does setup lists or what.
Yeah, I believe that is considered the setup, is just to tap Crystal Heart there, get to the correct height. Soul managing to defeat the Watcher Knights on the second try. Fortunately, this category, you do have to take the bench next to Watcher Knights. That's the bench you come from. So a death there, not actually losing as much time as deaths almost anywhere else in the run would be.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It's not too far of a trip. But obviously, a death is never good, but yeah. Jeff having a clean section there, that really makes how do I want to word this? It's a much deeper hole for Soul to have to climb out of now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious though, leading up to now that we have the two of the biggest choke points, I would say, in Crystal Peaks and Isma skips out of the way for Jeff, just how close he is to personal best.
Yeah, I have no idea.
One of the first races I saw commentating, people were able to figure out. It was Devil Tifa, I believe, was very, very close to a personal best for the entire race, ending only 5 seconds away. Somebody must have known his splits very, very well, because they were able to give us up-to-date information at every moment there.
Yeah, the one thing I just wanted to point out real quick that a lot of people may have seen Jeff pay the toll for that bench, then leave the room. The reason we do that is because with the loadless timer, it's faster to just leave the room and reload it and come back in, because then we completely skip the animation of the bench coming up out of the ground and spawning there. And we need to take that. That's a forced bench because we save and quit back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what you just saw. Now Soul onto, oh, God, it's hard calming when they're both at such hype parts.
Absolutely.
Soul
taking third try, I believe, on the spike tunnel, unless he took a bit of damage earlier.
Jeff is getting really bullied.
A lot of damage from the Mauler.
Please heal. Okay, you're going to be safe. Okay. We have Guanky in chat telling us that Jeff is on PB pace, so that's really cool.
All right, thank you, Guanky. Thank you.
Soul's struggling with the acid skip here. Going for the setup. So, which setup do you use, Sabi? Do you use the standard setup, or do you use setupless?
I do the standard setup. I've heard a couple times setupless. I have no idea what it even looks like. I believe it would just be walking off the edge and grabbing onto the quick place. You
know how if you dash into a wall then jump immediately, it kind of redirects your dash away from the wall, then performs the wall jump?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so you pretty much use that for setupless, and it doesn't really matter where you are on the wall height-wise, because you just use that to get around the corner.
I see. So it's a strategy for the second half where you're jumping up around the corner.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So you C dash in, cancel it, then dash and jump immediately into the wall. And Jeff at 1 HP here. Oh God, please be safe. Oh no. And Soul taking a death there. Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, so that bridge right there, probably home to 3 of the rudest enemies in the game. Each and every single one of those flying sentries there can be in your way. So just trying to Crystal Heart across that gap there can lead to 1 or 2 damage if you're not able to recover and fall into the spikes. I did not see what happened there with Soul. He probably just didn't have Soul for a heal. And because you can heal somewhere in Yzma's to make up for that.
Right. There's also I forget the name of the enemy because I'm a dirty speedrunner and have terrible game knowledge, but there's the enemy right above where you do the first acid skip that you can just dream nail infinitely to get Soul and heal.
A worm? The fish?
No, it's like it's like a big yellow blobby thing.
Yeah. Sorry, I've heard that called a blug sack, a blug with a G, not blood. Yeah. But you can dream nail that, but I think a lot of runners should just have an extra hit of Soul coming out of Yzma's just from hitting the worms. But yeah, maybe definitely. He killed them on the way in, so they weren't there on the way out.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah, in any case, just getting unfortunate RNG with these guys and them hitting him right here. He's going to have to clean up his shade while avoiding these guys. Didn't take him too much trouble.
Ooh, falling there is kind of rough. Okay. I was going to say, I got to be honest, I don't know the way back up, but you can just wall jump.
Yeah.
Now Jeff heading into what I think is the hardest boss fight in the run. Obviously, that's subjective, but I think most people who run this category would agree Hornet 2 is probably the hardest boss fight.
Yeah, and it definitely depends on the strats you're going for. I believe that the Hollow Knight, with the easiest strats available, which it would just be spamming D-Dark over and over again, is almost impossible to die on. But if you're going for faster strats, less healing, more Abyss Shrieks, you're just stuck standing there for a long time. So you can make that fight a lot harder than the Hornet fight, in my opinion, if you're going for the absolute optimal strats and getting bad RNG. But Hornet fight, I would say, a little more complicated, just on at a base level.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment because getting Abyss Shrieks on THK is definitely not the easiest thing in the world. I mean, you have to be very close. You have to worry about getting hit. I don't think Jeff took the Hornet 2 bench.
I don't believe he did.
Yeah, I think Jeff mentioned that they weren't going to be watching the race. I think they just wanted to focus on their own. Because I was going to say, if I'm Jeff and I know that I have this type of lead, I'm taking that bench just for safety. But Jeff's on PB pace. He doesn't want to pull any punches.
Personally, I made a promise to my stream that I would not bench at Hornet until I died to Hornet. So I've been keeping that promise. I have not died to Hornet yet. So Jeff might have some similar feelings where he's just so confident in this fight. Maybe having practiced it for many hours. Some speedrunners will practice fights hours a day, hours in a row. It looks like he has a very solid understanding of the fight. He's getting taking a few hits here. It looks like he's playing slightly safer now that he's taking some damage.
And then Soul over here. Okay. Oof.
This could be another. Did Soul go for the wall break? Doesn't matter. He got the fight.
Soul's all good.
Yeah, there's a breakable wall that you can do for Broken Vessel if you're afraid of dying to it. Say coming in on 1 or 2 HP with not a lot of soul available. But I didn't see if Soul went to break that wall. Doesn't need it.
Yeah, I mean, does anybody know if is Jeff still on PB pace? I think he might. I mean, he last rechecks he was, and I haven't seen any mistakes. So.
Yep, no deaths, no major time losses. I don't believe he definitely didn't heal throughout the entire Hornet fight.
Didn't heal, didn't bench. I think he's going for the scary RNG C dash, and he gets it. Cool.
Yep. Apparently
I see one platform down.
Yeah, same here. And to my understanding, it's not even slower just because of the distance that you have to dash and pogo over is just. It doesn't cost that much time or any time at all.
And also you get the C-dash straight into the transition as well, which C-dashing in transitions is pretty quick.
Right.
Because in any other time, there's the animation of the knight walking into the transition, whereas in C-dashing, that's not there.
Yeah, and that's why that 4 dash rule that I mentioned, where 4 dashes, a C dash is always faster, it can apply to 3 dashes if there's a transition in the way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It can apply to, if you have to stop and interact with something like a stag, there's a lot of different things to it, just where C dashing isn't always inherently faster than multiple dashes.
Yeah. It wasn't his best Hornet fight. Yeah, I did think he slowed down there just a little bit. At the end of that Hornet fight after he took the 3 damage. It's very easy to go quickly in that fight when you have the 5 HP. But when you start to notice that you're taking too much damage, you start to get a little nervous about the death. It's definitely wise to play it slower. Jeff,
yeah, absolutely.
Jeff, I assume, not really going for a personal best in a race, mainly aiming to win. Especially against such a closely matched opponent.
Yeah, Jeff going for Cyclone Slash now, which is admittedly a fairly boring split in this run. There's not much exciting to go on, just moving and jumping. No real fights or enemies that can ruin things, but we see Soul walking into Hornet 2, which is a super hype part of this run.
Yep, we're going to see how he handles it. I believe he took the bench.
Yeah, probably. I can totally understand that with the way the run has gone so far, with taking a couple deaths.
Yeah.
Getting a double, nice. I know for me as an 90% runner mostly, it was very difficult to get used to just how much faster the pace of Hornet 2 is compared to Hornet 1. I'm like afraid to ever even dash during this fight just because Hornet's movement can be fairly unpredictable.
Yeah, personally, I think it's also hard to get used to her speed because you still fight Hornet 1 at the beginning of this category,
right.
So it's very easy to get into that rhythm. But he's on 1 HP. He's on 1 HP. I might.
Well, Soul did take the safety bench. Oh, no, Soul did not take the safety bench.
Oh, no.
That hurts. That hurts a lot.
Yeah, there's actually 2 safety benches you can take there. Soul opting for neither. One of them is at King Station. It doesn't save a huge amount of time considering that it's just 2 C dashes away. essentially from that bench that Soul started on, but it would have saved him a little bit here.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how if Soul approaches this fight any differently now after taking that death. But man, it's a tough fight. It's a really hard fight. That's all I have to say about it. Jeff going into Umu now. So I haven't been watching Jeff run much. I'm curious to see if he goes for the one cycle Umu setup.
Yeah. And the good thing about the one cycle Umu setup is that Insomnia once, when coaching somebody, said that essentially the way to get a 2 cycle Umu is to go for a 1 cycle and then you miss. And that Umu's just on barely enough HP to survive 1 or 2 fireballs in the next cycle. So should be going for I believe going for the wrong note at first. Oh no, he's going for the any % lure.
Yeah, he's going for the any %. Yeah, I was going to give an explanation of the whole out of bounds strat for 1 cycle, but we're not going to see it. So
not from Jeff at least. It could be. Soul might have just learned a few different things in this category. He does have a 56 as a personal best, and I don't know how tight it is to get a 56 exactly, but I know that I have a friend who's pretty close to that number and now feels like he should be learning the 1 cycle pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, the 1 cycle is very it's not intuitive, but it's one of those things where once I understood it, I really understood it. I've been told too that the any % setup can 1 cycle if more than one of the fireballs doubles or something, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I did hear that the 1 cycle for all skills was found fairly recently, but that doesn't mean that it was thought to be impossible beforehand, because it requires. All of Umu's movements are very slightly RNG. He doesn't move to the exact same place every single time, even if he gives you the same exact attacks. So,
Soul on 1 health again. This is really scary.
He just doesn't have the soul to heal, using a fireball to stagger her.
Oh, jeez. That's just so rough. If you let Hornet spike balls accumulate in such a high concentration, it really hinders movement for that fight, and that's just unfortunate for Soul.
Yeah, Soul appearing to take a little bit of a breather on the bench there.
Yeah. Waiting
a little bit, perhaps, deciding if he wants to continue. So, given the previous races, I see no reason why he shouldn't. We've had a lot of races that are less close than this, so... good on him for continuing. I'd like to see some support in chat if anyone wants to give that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, anything can still happen. You know, both runners are human. It's a tournament setting with nerves, and there's still some sketchy sections to go. You know, there's a bunch of stuff to do in the Abyss that can cause problems. There's the dark deep nest a little bit. You know, this run is definitely... Jeff has a very commanding lead right now. I'm not gonna fake hype this up, but I would not call this run dead just yet.
No, not at all. Deaths to the Hollow Knight still happen. We've seen that Jeff is a player who is willing to take risks, not healing on Hornet, even at only 2 HP. So we could see some similar spicy strats on the Hollow Knight that end up costing him time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Curious to see what strat. Right. I always like seeing what strat people do in that room.
Yeah.
There's one strat I use that I saw from Pisces, which is the airwalk that lets you get an extra dash midair, and then there's the lamp pogo that I'm sure many people do, but the person I saw do it is Monsta, which I don't know which one's faster, but
I was not paying attention last time, or the first time, to whether Soul took the bench. I did pay attention this 3rd time, and he is still not taking the Hornet 2 bench. So he really just he really just wants to get it right. He really believes he knows he's capable of doing this and sure he's done it 1,000 times in a run setting in practice. He knows what he's capable of. Yeah, no, he's probably paying this time, I think, a little more attention to the spikes.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice, going for
real nice.
some nifty dodges there.
Come on, Soul. I think everybody wants to see Soul beat the crap out of Hornet too right now.
Yep.
Nice double.
Oh, there we go.
Finally, Soul taking down Hornet. There we go. You love to see it.
Absolutely. And he knew that, like, that's the kind of fight that he knew he was capable of doing, where I don't believe he healed. He just took a little bit of extra time. Probably that was, I'm going to guess that was the main contributing factor. He felt like he was maybe behind and didn't want to take the time, because it does take time to go and knock the spikes out of the way every single fight. And he probably
not free.
He probably just wanted to try to avoid taking any extra time in this race, but it ended up costing him. But
Soul not doing the early control there. So now Jeff heading over to the Wraith's Mound. Taking in, okay. I don't normally see runners go that way. I don't know if it's faster or not.
Oh, did he go right side?
Yeah, he went up right side.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the mound that we're about to see Jeff enter here, where we pick up Howling Wraiths, the enemies that spawn in it, he opts to kill that, he opts to break that wall beforehand. Both run.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said both runners. What I was trying to say was that where Jeff is right now, these squits, they spawn in very consistent positions every time. So if you do know where they spawn, there's a good pattern you can take to kill. And not opting to use any Shade Soul here, which is something I see most runners do. Okay, using it there.
Yeah, all of these squits only taking 2 hits to kill. It does sometimes feel excessive to Shade Soul them, but it's definitely a lot faster than... I almost feel like part of the reason he was saving that much soul was to heal, and then he ended up expending all of it anyway.
Well, and the important thing to remember too is that after picking up Wraiths, you get full soul anyway.
Right, that's why some people like to heal beforehand, because then there's no soul cost to it.
He's gonna heal now. I like that. Actually, I don't know if other runners do this. If I need to heal here, one place I like to heal is we're about to see Jeff do another dash / skip like we saw a lot in Sanctum. I actually like to heal while that gate is opening, because you lose a little bit of time, but we're standing there waiting for this gate anyway.
Oh, so he dashed a little bit. It seemed like he felt like he was in the wrong place, so he just didn't release the dash / there, which is good, because if you release that dash / with bad timing, you have to charge it up again. That's a much bigger time loss than just waiting for the dash cooldown.
Yeah, definitely. And we see, okay, Soul making his way over to Cyclone right now. I think, no, Jeff's good on his Soul count here. You only need 2 fireballs here. Unlike any percent where you like 3.
Only now, though, the great disparity in this race that those Hornet fights have caused are hitting me. Because I think this is the first time that we've seen them tackling completely different splits. They're no longer even really the same section of the game. Soul still has Umu coming up, and Jeff Septic has done the last major quit out back to Umu, or back to the archives already. So yeah, right. And I'm trying to think of scenarios or ways that Soul could make up some time here.
Barring a death from Jeff, it's just going to be a very, very tall order.
Yeah, I think it would have to be a Deep Nest death or something too, because the deaths to Hornet were so costly with the lack of a safety bench.
Yeah, definitely.
It would have to be something right at the end of Deep Nest, messing up a devout kill or something.
Or hitting spikes in this room like 5 times and dying or something.
Yeah, the second room feels a lot more costly, or the third room. You just dash through the first or the second, so it doesn't feel like the second to me. But the third and final dark room getting hit by the spikes later on can be especially punishing.
Right.
Just because the floors start to break and more spikes than are initially there reveal themselves. So very important to get this room first try if you're already breaking those spikes. And you can see just how dark it is on stream. It's only, I would say, slightly brighter in game. Just barely being able to see in the radius around the knight himself. Maybe the glow in the dark eyes of the enemies. Almost nothing is visible in any of these dark rooms.
Yeah, I definitely rely on the you know how the spider like glows orange for a bit before it shoots at you. I definitely rely on that to know where it is.
Yeah, but there's only a few visual cues in that room. Most of it comes down to muscle memory, and he got through all of it very quickly.
Jeff is on a mission right now.
He absolutely is.
Let's see. Yeah, real clean killing the devout. And I'm curious to see now what Soul does for Umu.
Yeah, it looks like he is going
like a one cycle. Sure does. Yeah, so the whole goal with one cycle for everyone is we try to keep Umu very close to the side of the arena, and then we push Umu out of bounds where it doesn't have any friction to keep it from bouncing away from us. And try and stack.
He actually went for a pogo there, but it looks like the setup is just fine. Was that it?
He gets it. Nice.
Oh,
real
my
nice.
goodness.
Yeah. So what we're doing there is we're pushing Umu out of bounds, which allows it to freely move back without getting caught on any geometry in the arena, which allows double fireballs to hit much more consistently.
That's
what you guys just saw Soul do.
I do really wonder if that's his standard strategy for that, or if he messed it up a little and it just didn't matter because he's so consistent with the rest. He pogoed Umu and then did a damage tank, but it appeared to give him the perfect timing required to get that.
If I had to guess, I would say the pogo was intentional, the damage tank was not. If I had to guess.
That's my guess, but it ended up working out so well for him. I know that the one cycle is not an easy thing to pull off, so the fact that he's able to make a small mistake like that and still get it, I would say.
Definitely the way I would describe that one cycle is there's a lot of very fine nuance to it that if you don't know specific things that you should be looking for, it can be very difficult. But we see now Jeff heading into the abyss here. And Soul now will be going through some of the fun movement sections in Great Slash and Wraiths.
Yeah. People calling out Soul as the comeback kid, although that one cycle trick, very impressive, does save 20 seconds. Still going to be quite a bit behind. And once again, jeffisepic left this whole area a few minutes ago, and Jeff is going to, Soul is going to have to stick around here for another 2 or 3 minutes, just going to Great Slash, quitting out back to the bench, and then going for the Howling Wraiths. And only then is he able to progress to the area that Jeff has already completed, Deep Mist.
I'll say, I've never seen that D-Dark there that Jeff just did in the first Abyss room, the drop.
I didn't look at
D-Dark. Yeah. Never seen that there.
I know that in the dream sequence, the D-Dark is faster than inventory dropping. But I assume that's just because there's not enough area to build speed.
It's that, and the fact that there's normally when you D-Dark, there's the animation of your knight hitting the ground and having to come back from that. In the dream sequence, we don't have that.
That's correct.
That's another thing.
So that should be, the D-Dark should be a little slower there, but
yeah. Who knows?
Not going to matter a huge amount.
I don't know if Jeff plays current patch. Could be a habit from that, maybe.
Oh, that's possible. That's possible.
Yeah.
It could be a rando. If he's a...
Yeah, it could be rando. I forgot about that. And you guys will see Jeff save and quit out now after getting Shade Cloak. The reason being is that it skips the whole animation and cutscene of acquiring Shade Cloak, and we'll see if Jeff gets... Okay, it doesn't do the... If you hit Dream Nail during the... after you save and quit out, if you hit Dream Nail, you can actually gain control of your knight slightly early. Saves a couple seconds, but it's not going to make or break the run.
But Shauna in the chat giving us the background information on Jeff. Jeff is a randomizer player. Probably was a randomizer habit. Huge Jeff PB incoming from Lewis.
It's not over yet. Not over yet. We still got a BIS climb. We still have THK, which are definitely not free.
Yeah. But the PB here would definitely be just the cherry on top for Jeff. He's performed everything very admirably. Didn't get a one-cycle Onumu, but wasn't really going for it. So I doubt that that's, you know, any mark down in his book.
Jeff, if my memory serves, Jeff took one death, right?
No, I don't think so.
Why did I think Jeff took a death somewhere? Huh. I could just be insane. Okay, Jeff did not take a death. Got it. Death. Yeah, that's pretty great then, especially for a tournament setting like this. I mean,
absolutely. And he's just been playing out of his mind. He's been skipping benches. Not healing in fights. He's been playing with extreme confidence.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize to our viewers how absolutely out of your mind insane it would be to PB in a tournament setting. Like, that is absolutely nuts.
And especially with Jeff here being, I mean, even with Soul's deaths, this is still one of the closest races I have seen personally. Yeah. I don't know. I have not been watching every tournament match as you have, Rhino, on the second monitor. But
what are you talking about? I've been working. I don't know. No idea what you're talking about.
But Rhino, what is the closest race you have seen? Like within
this is the closest one I've seen.
It's still the closest race. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of races that were even like where the runners were just like minutes and minutes and minutes apart. Which, you know, we got like how many minutes here? It's not, but it's not.
It's 2 or 3 at the most.
Yeah, it's not like 6 minutes or 7 minutes, but.
Yeah.
And Jeff had a pretty clean climb there. I didn't really commentate it because I was watching very intently, but a fairly clean climb. Let's see if he benches before THK.
Right. Man, at this stage of even in a non-race setting, I think almost anyone would like to bench here. Going into the Hollow Knight fight with 3 HP when, once again, the Abyss Shroom strategy can be so risky and hit heavy.
He does have full soul. That is something to point out, which...
So he could heal.
Okay, he's going to bench. I don't hate that decision. I don't hate that at all.
Especially with that bench being so close.
Yeah, having the extra soul... He's got the extra soul for DPS now, which is not a bad decision.
Yeah. But yeah, this is certainly a PV pace for Jeff, just knowing his personal best is a 57.
Right, he'll be able to submit this one too, hopefully.
Yep.
Yeah, so for anyone who wasn't here when we started, we were talking, Jeff has a PB of 57.17, but it's not on the boards because his highlight of Twitch got muted because he was playing music during it, which unfortunately, for a run to be verified, game audio does need to be present throughout, so... Jeff's PB is not on the boards.
So part of the reason this race is so close, while others are... You know what? Maybe I'll save this for after the fight, because there's so much commentary that needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
During the fight. And also with Soul still going through the Queen's Gardens areas.
Soul taking an unlucky to a falling Soul. Right. So I'm going to focus on Jeff a little bit here. I know Soul's going through darkness, but...
Yeah, and I'll give a shout out. I'll give a shout out if anything, if he happens in darkness, you can just cover the fight.
Yeah, sure. So normally, for anyone who's again familiar with any %, we see a lot of nail fireball going on. In this fight, we have a lot more spells. We have a lot more firepower, which is why you see a lot of runners trying to use Shriek on THK. It's the most powerful spell we have. Also very difficult and risky to get hits because we have to pretty much be standing right underneath THK for that to hit. So whereas in any %, we want THK to be doing a lot of dashes to get double fireball hits, we really don't want that in all skills. It's probably the worst attack that we can get outside of a parry. Oh, and Jeff has a chance here to get Scream Skip with THK doing this attack. Oh, one more, come on. Oh, no! THK is like one shriek from death.
Not even. Oh, that was... That was just a single part of the
Jeff's gonna PB here. This will be a 56-27, I believe. GG.
Yeah. And now Soul making it all the way through Dark Team Nest very cleanly, by the way, in the meantime.
So what is that? That's like a 50-second, almost a minute PB from Jeff, so that's pretty huge.
Pretty huge, especially in a raid setting.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me...
Oh, yes, you're marking the runners as done, or...
Well, I was going to...
I've heard about this, but I wasn't introduced to the mechanic very well, so...
Just letting Soul know. I personally would like to see Soul finish the race still.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I think...
I almost didn't even say anything, but...
Is it about 4 minutes, I think, from here to the Hollow Knight?
Oh, man. I honestly have no idea. For how many thousands of runs I have in this game, I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm just going to take a look at my own splits, which aren't the best indicator, but it looks like about 6 minutes on my splits. I would say for a runner who is a higher caliber like Soul, probably closer to 5. But, no, I'm sorry. I in addition to not having good splits, I also can't do math. It is about 10 minutes.
Math is hard. I understand.
I have a death in my... No, it should be close to 5 or 6.
Sure.
But even with that disparity here between Jeff and Soul, still one of the closest races of the first round. Is this race an upset? That is what I wanted to talk about earlier. Part of the reason that this it is actually an upset.
Yeah, it is an upset. Yeah.
Even if Jeff's PB were to be counted and had been a PB before the seeding was set, you would still have been a bit behind Soul on the leaderboards. So definitely an upset. Part of the reason this match was so close as opposed to the other ones is there was a usage of Swiss formatting to where the first round was not supposed to be close between the top seed and the bottom seed. Every top runner was supposed to have a fairly weaker matchup somewhere halfway down the list from them.
It looks like Soul is not going to finish.
Oh. See.
All right, so I will go ahead and mark both of the runners as done.
And Jeff is already here in voice chat. Soul should be expected shortly, I'm sure. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
That was a hell of a race. Congratulations on the PB.
Congrats on the win and the PB, yeah.
Yeah, that was almost a minute. I'm a little sad. I'm 1 second behind Solar's PB.
Oh, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So a little bit better somewhere. I would have given him the bop, but still pretty happy with the PB.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can try and get Soul in here real quick. I think their Discord may have not been exactly what was set up. Okay, so Soul is going to forego doing the post-game interview. But congrats to Soul. Really good run. Yes. That was really enjoyable.
Yeah, GG.
Yeah, GG's to Soul. So Jeff, we're here with Jeff, our winner of tonight's big matchup. So Jeff, did you know how close your and Soul's PBs were going to this match? Because we were all pretty hype. I mean, you had a 57-17 and Solar with a 56-25. Did you know just how close this match might be?
Yeah, I expected that in round 1 we were gonna be probably one of, if not the only matches where like our PBs are really similar. Because the first round is like, you know, a big gap in the seating.
Sure.
But because I got my PB muted, I was unseated at the bottom when I should have been near the middle-ish.
Sure. Well, the 57, it turns out people with similar... That could have put you against possibly Monster specifically. Because
right.
I know my friend who was just a little bit below that is placed against Dax. So
I was joking on stream about, like, I wouldn't do this intentionally. I promise my VOD literally did get muted. I was like, but strategically, if you don't have a PB and you think you're going to be just barely in the bottom half, it's probably better to just not have a PB than to have to face Monster or Axe or Pisces in the first round and just get obliterated.
Yeah. And the good news about this tournament is the way this format is done is even with an early win, that will just make the future matches harder. So there will be, even if in a ridiculous scenario this was intentional, there would be some karmic justice in the end.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to getting paired against Pisces because in the 4-year Hollow Knight celebration thing, we're also doing the same segment in the 106, so he could double dunk me.
Oh wow, yeah.
You hear that, Pisces? They're getting called out. So one thing I was curious about, Jeff, was so you had a fairly good lead for a lot of that run, and I was expecting, like, okay, Jeff's got a really good lead. They might start taking some safety benches, some safety strats, but you didn't. You kept your foot on the pedal, got a new PB. It was awesome. What went into your mentality for that? Did you even know that you were ahead, or did you just really, really want a PB after seeing your own pace?
No, I decided before the race I was not going to watch the stream or Solar's stream. I don't want to know. I'm just going to play my game. I don't want to... I don't have like the most hours in the game, but I've got like 700 and something. I'm just going to rely on my muscle memory. I don't want to try and adjust on the fly based on where my opponent's at. I'm just going to do my normal thing.
That makes a lot of sense, and I got a lot of respect for that strategy. I have to ask you, how many of those 700 hours are in randomizer, would you say? If you had to get in general. Less
than 100.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. It was just funny because I think we all noticed, or after Rhino pointed it out, you used the descending dark to descend into the abyss, and we were questioning whether that should be faster. We decided probably wasn't, and that it was possibly a current patch or randomizer strategy to dive there. Is that correct, or?
So I don't 100% know. Anecdotally, it feels faster. I feel like I have seen someone do it. I want to say in like a 106 run or something when I was learning that category. So yeah, I have no idea, but
that's just the way you normally do that. Then
that's the way I've been doing that, because I also ran all bosses, which like comes through there with dive, and that's just been my like muscle memory forever, is to one dive and one inventory drop.
Well, there you have it. Again, a very clean race from you. No deaths. Not a lot of safety benches or safety heals throughout the run either. I got to say, quite impressed.
Yeah. One question I have quick is, was there any part of your run? I mean, you had a great run, PB'd. We're all super hyped with the content. Internally, in your own mind, was there any part of that run that you would like back that you weren't happy with, or that you can see a lot of room for improvement next time?
Yeah, my Soulmaster fight was abysmal. I lost 20 seconds, and it's completely my fault. I just played really bad. And then I lost another 20 between Basin and Kingsbrand, which was like that really Monkasteer broken vessel fight. And then the Hornet fight was actually pretty fine. Except as soon as she got me to 2 HP, I immediately went into baby mode.
I called that out a little bit, but I said that it was a pretty smart decision, and it's a very natural one too, where it's so easy when you have 5 HP too. to just go full force. But as soon as you start getting into those lower numbers, starting to think, okay, a death here would be really bad.
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
Definitely.
But from Cyclone Slash till the THK Scream, I gained time on every split. And then I lost 10 seconds to the Hollow Knight, but
yeah, there's usually not much you can do about that, even when playing at maximum intensity. I'm missing a word here in my vocabulary somewhere, but even when playing at your best, to just lose time to RNG or unlucky teleports.
Yeah, for sure. He stayed in the corner twice, and I was like, fine, I guess we have dive in this category, so it's not as bad as it is when he does that in like any percent, but
yeah.
Yeah, well, so that's about all the questions I have. Do you have anything else, Savi?
No, I just wanted to give some quick shout outs to actually I did want to ask about Umu One Cycle. Do you think that'll be something you learn in the future?
Yeah, I should learn it. I signed up for the tournament. I did all of like 6 completed runs, got my PB, and then I took a 2.5 week break to play Zelda games. So coming back to the tournament, I did a couple practice runs and I was like, my 1 cycle is so bad, sometimes I don't salvage a 2 cycle.
Oh, wow.
So going in, I was like, we're doing it any percent style. I'm just going to have a super clean any percent 2 cycle, and we're just going to be consistent in and out.
Yep, I absolutely feel that. That's another good decision that probably helps you end up in a closer race would have probably given you maybe the win, or at least avoided a loss from a 3rd cycle. But congratulations on that.
One quick question before we end. I just had to ask, Jeff, what went into your decision to not save the grub in Crystal Peaks?
Oh, that was for shout outs to Nader Tater. That was for him. Because he said earlier that he's saving no grubs in this, and I'm like, everyone's gonna save the grub. I'm gonna join Team No Grub.
Yeah, I think there's a few people on your team. Insomnia is definitely there. We'll see. But the last thing I wanted to close out on was just shout outs to Soul, able to make it a very close race throughout the entire beginning, and even after the death, still able to keep up pace, still. Even on the 3rd Hornet try, not going for the bench, showing confidence that they did know the fight, and able to prove that in the end.
Yeah, and before we head off, is there anybody or anything you want to shout out, Jeff?
Shout outs to the organizers of the tournament, and shout outs to the Hollow Knight 4-year anniversary celebration. It's going to be dope. Everyone should watch it.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be enjoying that one for sure.
All right, guys. Well, I think that wraps up the broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. There's a command in chat that people have been spamming. Just you can watch the rest of the races this weekend. There's quite a few. You'll see me tomorrow at 2. Ooh, very exciting. Yeah. Hope to see you guys for some of the future races, and take care.